Live from San Diego, California.
We go live to the newsroom with your host
for Nick's Nerd. Hello there. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Nick's Nerd News. I'm your host, Nick, if that wasn't already painfully obvious. Welcome back to the show. As always, if you're new to the show, welcome in. Glad you came to listen. If you've been here with us the whole time, welcome back, and happy you guys support me in this endeavor that I'm on. But, well, hey, we're just blowing right through February, aren't we? It's already February 17th. There's 11 days left in this month. 11 days left in February of 2021. We are just off to a quick, fast start here in this new year. And I, for one, wish it would just slow the hell down. But not like last year. God, no, not like last year. But then again, I want the fall to be here so I can play Halo Infinite. Anyway, welcome all. As always, like, subscribe, share, click, touch, poke, jump, I don't know what you guys call it. Do all those fancy fun things to the show. We're on all platforms pretty much. Damn you, iHeartRadio. I don't know what the fuck is taking so long with that damn company and why they won't put me on their platform. Stupid jerks. God, jerk face. Anyway, let's jump right into what we're here for, right? We're here to talk about the nerd news of the week. And I hope you guys like this new style I've transitioned to where we're talking from Wednesday to Wednesday, right? I don't want to talk about stuff that's a week old anymore, a week plus old anymore. I want to talk about things that are as current as possible. And it I think it's made an easier transition for the show to go into, and obviously, things may still change as time moves forward. But let's stick to what we know, shall we? Let's stick to what we know. Anyway, let's jump in with video games. As always, the first topic of the day, except for a few times when we haven't. But there's other reasons for that, and hasn't happened in a while. But I bet you guys are shocked to hear this as much as I am. Wink, wink, / sarcasm. But DICE LA is working on a new Battlefield. Shocker, right? A new Battlefield. Oh, yeah. The franchise has been dormant for what? A few years now? When was the last Battlefield? I think it was Battlefield 6? Battlefield 1? Whatever you wanted to call it. Battlefield 6. Oh, sorry. Battlefield 6 comes out this year. So DICE LA is working on a version of it, right? But Battlefield 5 came out, that's what it was. Battlefield 5 came out in 2018, so it's going to be about 3 years. And of course, their game before that was Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2017. So it has been quite a while for those games. Battlefront, of course, Battlefront 2 has completely changed around a bit. And let us see. So, with that being said, I wonder what DICE LA is working on. Are they working on a spin-off of the franchise, like Bad Company? Are they working on something for the new Battlefield 6? It'll be interesting to see, because DICE is headquartered in... they're in Sweden, right? They're based in Sweden. They do have, like I said, DICE LA is their sister studio that does other projects for them. So we'll see. But I remember last year, DICE LA, Vince Zampella took over, and they weren't going to be part of DICE anymore. So I who knows? I guess they are still working on Battlefield stuff, even though Vince Zampella said they weren't. So we'll see what actually happens when Battlefield launches later this year, and we'll see how it goes up against the juggernaut that Call of Duty has reinvented itself into, right? Like, how is Battlefield going to compete in this new space where Fortnite and Warzone and Warzone have really taken over? It'll be interesting to see how that happens, because Battlefield already had larger battles than Call of Duty, right? But it'll be interesting to see how they fit in with the Battle Royale space and how they can adapt. I mean, not every shooter multiplayer has to do that, but again, if you want to be like the masses, you kind of have to adapt yourself to fit that mold more, unfortunately. But we'll see how that all turns out. Also, newly announced, Nintendo has launched a new concierge program that it gives one-on-one service to help you find what game you want to play next, right? You can get to it from the Nintendo website, and it goes for Switch games, what to play next, other different things. So it's not just games, but it's all stuff related to your Switch experience. And it says, if you do the play next option, it says, quote, discuss recommendations on games to play next based on who is playing, play styles, favorite games, system, and accessories owned, unquote. That's a pretty awesome service. It reminds me, back in the day, Nintendo, it was a little before my time, but back in the day, Nintendo actually had, I forget if they're called game gurus or not, but you could call them and they would walk you through levels if you got lost. And I can't remember what their name is now, but it essentially, with Nintendo Power, you could call them and they had guides on every game, and they would walk you through levels. And it's they don't do that anymore. Granted, strategy guides became a thing, and of course now YouTube and Twitch exist, so it's they don't need it anymore. But it's this thing has been around for a long time. It's just changed over the years. We also finally have a release date for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the new PS5 exclusive. That will launch on June 11th per new PlayStation blog, so the new Ratchet & Clank game will be out June 11th. I know that's a lot of news, or people are looking forward to that game, as it's a big show title for the PlayStation 5. And hopefully PlayStation 5s are a lot easier to get when that game comes out in June for people. Hopefully I'll have a PlayStation 5 by then as well. But anyway, how about this? Scientists have figured out that pigs can play video games with their snouts. So in a new study that was announced by the BBC, and it was published in the Frontiers in Psychology, they investigated that pigs that were named Hamlet, Omelette, Ivory, and Ebony, and they were able to move a joystick with their snouts and following something on a screen, which is wow. So, quote from the study, the lead author said, quote, this sort of study is important because, as with any sentient beings, how we interact with pigs and what we do to them impacts and matters to them, unquote. So pigs are more sentient than we thought. Granted, I mean, we kind of knew that, I think. And it said a lot of them did a lot better, were just really well at how they interacted. It's just wild that pigs could interact with stuff on a screen and targets on a screen and use a joystick to move it around. Pigs are way smarter than we thought. Granted, we're learning a lot more animals are smarter than they thought. Looks like all pigs are truffle pigs, if you know the saying. But moving on from science, we talk about Pokemon. We go from one animal to a fake animal. Pokemon Day is, of course, February 27th. It is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and they will be kicking it off with a free concert by Post Malone. Yeah, I didn't even know Post Malone was into Pokemon. Logic would have made more sense because he sold the Pokemon card last year and reinvigorated things. But I Post Malone is cool and all, but I dig his music. It's just I'm really surprised by him being the person. But hey, whatever they want to do, whoever came to them, who knows, right? We don't know all the deals, but probably going to be good. We'll see what happens next week, though, in 10 days. 10 days from today. It was also announced this week that Kingdom Hearts is finally coming to the PC, and it will be exclusive to the Epic Games Store. And it will just be the mainline games. So the remix of 1.5 and 2.5, 3, and then the new media or Music Mania game or whatever it's called. But those are the games coming to PC. That does not seem like a game that will play well on mouse and keyboard. That's for damn sure. Oh, wait, maybe not. You'll click a lot for things. It's definitely a game you want to play with controller on PC. I know it's controller on PC, but a lot of people play with controller on PC. That's coming March 30th, though. And then here is an article I did not expect to talk about, given the franchise's history. Call of Duty, of course, is what we're talking about. But Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is one of now the best-selling games in U.S. history. It's already the 20th in terms of the dollar sales, per the NPD group. And Cold War so it's the third straight month of the best-selling game, and it became the best-selling game of 2020 in 2 months. But it doesn't. Animal Crossing could be higher because they don't count digital sales, but it's the 20th game on the NPD's list of best-selling games based on dollar sales. So that doesn't necessarily mean forever, but that's nuts, and it's not even that good of a Call of Duty game. That's I can't believe how high it is, but I don't have dollar sales exactly, but here we go. U.S. sales, hardware sales totaled $5.3 billion, 35% higher than 2019. So that's the most it's been since the $5.6 billion mark was hit in 2011. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform in units and dollars for December and 2020 year. Switch obviously dominated last year, just because they were available when the pandemic started. And let me see if I can find the exact dollar amount. I can't find the dollar amount for Black Ops Cold War, but that's crazy. Of all Call of Duty games, that one. Wild. But we also finally got some news regarding G4, and 2 of the channel's former hosts will be returning to host their respective shows. It is now confirmed that Adam Sessler will return to host X-Play and review games, and we'll have a revolving door of co-hosts or industry people to talk about games and gaming in general. And then Kevin Pereira has been confirmed to return to host Attack of the Show. No word yet on if Olivia Munn is coming back. I know there were talks of her potentially coming back. I know she expressed interest in coming back, but it looks like the real foundation of G4 is returning, and that's a good thing. That makes me excited for the return of G4 if those 2 are back in the hosting chairs. And the one time you're going to hear me talk about Fortnite in good light for quite a while. It's rare. Fuck Fortnite is a favorite phrase of mine. But Fortnite is getting a Tron tie-in coming soon. Tron is one of my favorite movies, and I wish more people knew about Tron, and I hope Tron 3 gets made. So I am, I guess, a little happy that there's a Tron tie-in in Fortnite to hopefully get more people interested in Tron. And that is all the time I'm going to give Fortnite, because I'm not going to give them any more time than they are deserved. Fuck Fortnite. Anyway, moving forward, it looks like the class action lawsuit against Sony for the DualSense controller will be moving forward. Now, it is claiming that Sony was aware and didn't disclose it, and they said, quote, fraudulent, deceptive, unlawful, and unfair, unquote. I would argue that maybe they didn't know, but it looks like it will be filed by CSK&D, and they have formally filed the class action suit in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. A lot of cases go into that one, and it was first filed on behalf of plaintiff Lamarck Turner, and it is against Sony Corporation of America and Sony Interactive Entertainment. and it's the first one against DualSense, probably not the last. Again, it's rare to see controller drift 2 months after. And the complaint says this, quote, a defect that results in characters or gameplay moving on screen without user command or manual operation of the joystick, unquote. So, I don't know. Sony has known and been aware, they're claiming. And it says, quote, through online consumer complaints made by consumers directly to it, and through its own pre-release testing, unquote. We'll see what happens. And it also said, quote, when consumers experience the drift defect, their options for repair are slim. Reportedly, Sony PlayStation's dedicated portal for issues with PS5 hardware, including the DualSense controller, is experiencing a backlog and redirecting consumers to contact a customer service agent via the contact page for PlayStation support. Customers are experiencing long wait times and having to deal with a maze of pre-recorded phone prompts before finally speaking with an agent concerning repairs for DualSense controller drift, unquote. They're looking for a jury trial, monetary relief. Wow. And this dude bought his PS5 on February 5th. And it had drift on day one. Oh my God. That's a little hard to believe. There's a whole lot of articles on this if you guys want to go deeper and deeper, but same day drift is I don't know. That's going to be a sticky situation, and we will be watching it here at Nexter News to see how it all plays out. Game makers Remedy, great little studio out of, I forget where they're out of, but they've made a lot of great games over the years, and unfortunately they are not considered like AAA, even though their games are AAA. Maker of Alan Wake, Control, the original Max Payne games, Quantum Break, and they have reported that in 2020, they doubled its operating profit, which is such a great thing to hear because they are a small studio and we're at risk of closing because their games don't get big play. And per their latest financial report, their full year revenue is up 30% at 4.1 million euros, and operating profit came in at 13.2 million. Over twice the 6.5 million euros that they'd got during 2019 when Control was out. Control came out in late 2019. So it just shows that in 2020, they were able to Control was pushed so much by people that they are finally getting really the credit they deserve and the success that they deserve as well. And, of course, it came out on 2020 in different games or on different services. And the Ultimate Edition just recently released, and different expansions came out, of course, for Control in 2020. So that it's a good thing to hear from them, and I can't wait to see what other games they come out with in the future. They are a very talented studio. So cheers to Remedy for finally really getting all the credit and due they've earned. And I hope it continues forward. But I want to talk about a new game on Steam that is like taking the world by storm. And it's an early access game. And I personally haven't looked into it too much just yet. But per the official Steam page, it's called Valheim. And let's pull up the official Steam page here on it. It's like I said, it's early access. It's taking over the internet, if you will. Okay, well, apparently I can't spell. Okay, Valheim. It's $20, right? So it's not even expensive. It is a, quote, brutal exploration and survival game for 1 to 10 players set in a procedurally generated purgatory inspired by Viking culture. Battle, build, and conquer your way to a saga worthy of Odin's patronage. And it's already sold 2 million copies, and that was in 13 days, and that it has a concurrent player milestone of 360,000 players, according to the developers, and that's crazy. So it is a survival game, It sold 1 million copies in 8 days and 2 million copies in 13 days. That's crazy. It's already on the top seller list. 160,000 concurrent players. It's one of the most highest played games on Steam. It's nuts, man. How this is even happening, right? A game that came out of nowhere, and like I said, it's in early access. It's in early access, and it's blowing up. Props to this studio for making a game that people love and is gaining popularity, right? Props to them. So yeah, Valheim, if you guys are looking for a new survival game to play. And it's got a big player base, so you don't have to worry about never finding a crew. Valheim, keep watch on that. Keep watch on that. Also announced this year, Stadia, or at least Google has promised that Stadia will get 100+ games this year. Who knows if that's really true. And there's also now rumors floating around. So granted, if you get those 100 games, if they are promising over 100 games for this year alone, that will keep Stadia owners happy. But also floating around that Google decided to kill their development studios because of the Xbox Bethesda deal. Like, why would that scare them, of all things? Very strange story, and it will be interesting to see if that comes out as true. But who knows? Also, it was announced, Xbox announced a new Xbox-branded headset. So this is a first-party headset, not like my SteelSeries that I have. So it is the new Xbox wireless headset. It will cost $100 when it launches in March. It is available for pre-order. They're claiming best-in-class audio and chat performance. I don't know how you can do that on something that's not out yet. It's very sleek and minimalist looking. I guess the outside of the cups are dials that you can spin back and forth. Granted, Microsoft has like upped its game in headset manufacturing. They do have the Surface headphones, which are very highly regarded, at least the second version of them. So if they base that off of this, I can see that working well in their favor. And it does have spatial audio, and they are comparable to the I forget what they're calling, the 3D Pulse headset, I think, for PlayStation. And what's funny is they teased this headset in the Xbox Series X commercial like last year, and people didn't even realize it. But it does have a built-in microphone. It will have an equalizer experience that's built in, and it does look really nice. It says battery life will vary depending on usage. Like I said, it launches for $99. I'm a little upset. I'm not upset because I bought the SteelSeries and I love them, right? This will have the same thing like the SteelSeries where you can actually pair a phone and the Xbox at the same time. So like if you want to listen to music while you're playing, you can do that and still have game stuff. It is a little annoying when you're playing Call of Duty because your friends are trying to talk to you and you're listening to music. They brought it up like if you're trying to listen to a game and maybe you have Discord on your phone and you want to talk to your friends on Discord, so you can do that. And they do have flash charging. 30 minutes of charging, they say, gets you about 4 hours of battery life. 3 hours of charging gets you up to 15 hours of battery life when it's not in use. That is... this is per Xbox Wire, so this is all from them, and you can all do it on your the app and everything like that, and it will have Bluetooth and Xbox connectivity, no dongle, so it will connect just to the Xbox. You don't need anything separate, but that will release in March for $100. You can see more on Xbox Audio. They look really nice. I will say this: the official Xbox headset that they released for the Xbox One, and this one had like a built-in mic. It was wired, but it had these nice foam cushions over the ears. A friend's borrowing them now, and they were noise canceling. Those were some of the nicest headsets I've had for gaming. Next to my SteelSeries are my best, hands down. The SteelSeries are the best headset I've ever had. But the Xbox one I had before are really, really nice. And I like my Platinum PlayStation 4 headset. but I don't like that it doesn't have like a microphone. And I know Sony has like perfected that technology. And they're comfy. I don't like them as much as my Steel series though, but they are really, really, really good. So I will say that. And I think they work on PS5. I don't remember. If they don't, okay, I just confirmed that they do work on PS5. So when I get a PS5, I don't need to buy a new headset, even though probably should. But a couple other new things that were announced with Xbox today, too, I just wanted to follow up with. They announced a new feature called FPS Boost on backwards compatible games on the Series X and S. It's going to be a new compatibility option that you can enable, and the developers don't have to do anything. Microsoft and their backwards compatible team are taking care of it all. And you'll be able to like boost the frames per second on your certain games. It's coming to 4 games first. So the first 4 games are Far Cry 4, New Super Lucky's Tale, Sniper Elite 4, UFC 4, and Watch Dogs 2. So 5 games. And so now, like Super Lucky's Tale, they said can run up to 120 frames per second. UFC 4 can run up to 60 on Series S. And it's going to be like their new auto HDR option. So there is a compatibility option on your games when you are playing the backwards compat games. So that's all there. And a lot of this stuff is going to come to games for Game Pass and things like that. So, Super Lucky's Tale and Sniper Elite 4 are both in there. So that is something that's nice to see coming from them on older games, getting an additional performance boost already on top of ones that might not have before. And that is actually it for gaming. That is it for gaming. Not a major story to end gaming on this week. How about that? But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles, right? That is how the cookie crumbles. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I'm kidding. I gotcha. There was actually a Nintendo Direct today. And they announced quite a bit of stuff, actually. The first news is Raya and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 will be joining Smash Ultimate as 2 new DLC characters. We are getting a remastered or HD version of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword coming to Switch later this year, along with a Skyward Sword-themed Joy-Con controller. They announced Splatoon 3. Yes, Splatoon 3 will launch in 2022. No exact date. Mario Golf Super Smash was announced. That will release in June. A new Star Wars game from Zynga. It is a new free-to-play squad-based like hunter something fighter shooter game called Star Wars Hunters. Will release later this year. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout will be coming to Nintendo Switch this summer. Hyrule Warriors is getting a expansion pass with some DLC. Ninja Gaiden, the Master Collection, is coming to Switch in June. That was also announced for other platforms, so not just Nintendo Switch. So rapid fire announcements here. The Outer Wilds, which is a smaller indie game, is coming to Switch this year. Samurai Warriors 5, which is, of course, an offshoot of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, is coming. A Legend of Mana remaster. Tales from the Borderlands, which just recently re-released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, is coming to Switch. And finally, next month, Hades is getting a physical release. It will, of course, come with the cartridge of the game, PC download for the game's soundtrack, as well as a full colorized art book of every character from the game. So all the different gods drawn in it or directly pulled from the game. So if you love Hades, which is a great game if you haven't played it, I have it on PC. I wouldn't mind having it on Switch, and there is cross progression. But it is coming in a physical release to Switch next month for Hades. So be on the lookout for that. That is it for video games, and I'm being serious this time. So let's actually move on to TV. And got a bit of stuff to talk about today. The first bit is we are getting a True Lies reboot. Yes, True Lies on TV at CBS. It was originally greenlit at Fox 3 years ago with Mick G and James Cameron, but now it's actually going to be filmed for CBS. It will come. Mick G is still directing the pilot, and James Cameron is still on board as an executive producer. No word on casting or anything like that, but it will be coming to CBS. NBC also announced what I would call like the saddest news in a long time, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine will end with Season 8 next year. Season 8 was supposed to premiere last fall. Obviously, with the pandemic, things were delayed. They had also started to film the show, but in the wake of George Floyd's murder, they decided to, redo the season. And unfortunately, the show will only have a 10 episode season, final season. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine will not continue, and I'm upset because Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been literally one of my favorite shows in a very long time. It is a great comedy, and if you haven't watched it, you are doing yourself a major disservice. Brooklyn Nine-Nine it's so good. It really is, and like I said, if you haven't watched, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I know people are like, well, I don't like Andy Samberg. Well, I mean, he's just one part of the show. There's so much more going on in that show besides Andy Samberg, and I know that's a reason a lot of people don't like it, but there's so much more going on, and it's totally worth a watch. And it's sad that it's ending. I don't know if it's soon, but at least it came back from the brink once before, and unfortunately it probably won't happen again. Also announced that Clue will be getting a animated series over at Fox. I don't know how long it will go on for. I mean, how many times can Professor Mustard? I've never even really played the game. Oh wait, Colonel Mustard, right? How many times can you accuse Colonel Mustard on a TV show? We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. But in amazing news, Dave Chappelle has worked out his differences with Netflix and other streaming, and Chappelle's show is officially back on Netflix. He was giving, during a stand-up, and it was caught on film, an Instagram video. This is per Variety. He said that, this is quote, "I asked you to stop watching the show, and thank God Almighty for you, you did. You made that show worthless because without your eyes, it's nothing, and you stopped watching it. They called me, and I got my name back, I got my license back, and I got my show back, and they paid me millions of dollars. Thank you very much." He thanked CEO of Netflix Ted Sarandos, and even though it was a financial detriment to them to take it off the air, he also thanked the head of Viacom for quote, an interest in making the past right and doing something very courageous, quote, and then he also capped it off by saying, quote, "And finally, after all these years, I can finally say to Comedy Central, it's been a pleasure doing business with you," unquote. So yes, as of now, Netflix and I think CBS All Access both now have Chappelle's show back on streaming, and you can watch them on both after being removed. Right after being added, due to some contract disputes with Dave Chappelle that he wanted to make sure things were made right. Also announced for Amazon, Donald Glover and Phoebe Waller-Bridge are creating and starring in a Mr. and Mrs. Smith reboot television show. So yes, the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where it's an unsuspecting couple is actually both like professional hitmen, assassin, like mercenary type people that they don't even know it. But that is coming to Amazon in the near future. Then we got some news from Disney and Marvel Plus, Marvel and Disney Plus, and other things. Marvel has announced a new show called Marvel Assembled. It will be a new documentary series about the making of WandaVision, probably in the same vein as the making of The Mandalorian for Star Wars. It's also been floating that Cara Dune may be recast now that Gina Carano has been removed. I'm not going to talk on that subject much long at all. I will talk about this story, but she will not be recast. Hasbro actually pulled all future toys with Cara Dune too, interestingly. But she will not be recast, even though some fans had started calling for her to be recast by Lucy Lawless. But you know what? I don't care. I didn't care for the character that much. She was kind of cool, but Gina Carano, whatever, dude. Like, her not being in the show is not a big fucking deal. All right? If Pedro Pascal leaves, that's a big fucking deal. If we lose The Mandalorian, if we lose, like, Baby Yoda or some shit, we have a problem. But I'm more cool with them replacing her with, like, Bo-Katan, to be honest. Like, let's keep it Mandalorian. It seemed like she was leaving anyway to go do Rangers of the New Republic. So, like, everybody needs to take a fucking chill pill. Like, seriously. Seriously. Also announced, and we'll talk about WandaVision in a bit, DuckTales will conclude on the 15th of March with a 90-minute season series finale special. And that is coming next month. Be on the lookout for that. Also got some news here. Will Arnett will be joining the Twisted Metal cartoon. Yes, the animated series based on Twisted Metal, the awesome car demolition series on PlayStation. He will be voicing Sweet Tooth, but not the clown driving the car. He's going to be voicing Sweet Tooth the clown, the floating head that is on the ice cream truck, which is even better in my honest opinion. God, I miss Twisted Metal. That is a series that is primed for a comeback. And I've talked about that before on this program. Twisted Metal is a series that is primed for a comeback and needs to come back. That would be awesome. Moving on to HBO Max, though. Head of programming at HBO Max, Casey Bloys, has announced that the Peacemaker show, the prequel series to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, is expecting to premiere next January. They are going to start filming this year, very soon, if I'm not mistaken. And they, like I said, they hope to premiere that show in January. Also announced is a Shining TV show called The Overlook Hotel, being produced by J.J. Abrams. And also, apparently in the works, is a Constantine reboot that will serve as a companion series to the J.J. Abrams Justice League Dark series that he's working on. And honestly, I want J.J. as far away from every fucking franchise I love. But unfortunately, they will be moving forward with a new actor, not Matt Ryan, who gloriously plays. Is it Matt Ryan? The actor who plays him on who played him on the NBC show that got canceled, and then of course plays him on Legends of Tomorrow. Okay, yes, Matt Ryan, but he will not be coming back for this potential series. And that's upsetting. That's upsetting. He's honestly one of the best people to portray the character. He even did so in the Justice League Dark animated film, and it's not even tied in with the Arrowverse. He's just that good of a portrayal of John Constantine. But whatever, JJ, do your thing, I guess, bud. Jerk. Ruin more things. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the HBO Max side of things. Meanwhile, over at Netflix, we are going to be getting a live-action Wednesday Addams show from Tim Burton. And honestly, that's like the greatest fucking thing I've heard in a long time. If anyone is going to be the best at making a Wednesday Addams show, it's Tim fucking Burton. Like, honestly, it's paradise, right, for those two. And the fact that he's never made an Addams Family movie is wild, right? And granted, the person who made the films from the 90s, Barry Sonnenfeld, he knows how to do like that creepy vibe just as well. I mean, look at the Men in Black films too, you know? And he did a series of unfortunate events for Netflix. So like the dude knows how to do like that vibe. But Tim Burton honestly is the best person for an Addams Family type movie. Like there's no one more perfect for the role. Let's put it that way. But let's talk about WandaVision before we move on to the movies. And oh my fucking god, what is going on in this episode? First off, super 90s, very, very, very much gives off a Malcolm in the Middle vibe, which totally down with. And we get more insight into Pietro, or God, what's his name? Quicksilver, right? And of course, as I mentioned last week, Evan Peters is playing the role. He played the same role in the Fox X-Men films, but now that we have an episode with him, it doesn't seem like he's playing that version of Quicksilver. He's playing like a twisted version of the one played by Aaron Taylor Johnson in the MCU, but also maybe not. And there's a lot of meta commentary and jokes in this about things that even fans are thinking about the show. But what's also really cool is that the Maximoff kids, or Wanda's kids, are dressed in, it's a Halloween episode, so everyone's in like their comics accurate costume, but like a Halloween costume version. Wanda, Vision, even Wanda's kids are dressed up as what they look like in the comics. And there's a lot of strange goings on. We're finally given a hint at some idea of what the townspeople, what's wrong with them, and it's clear that they're like under a spell, because Vision kind of goes to the outskirts of town and people are like stuck in a loop, and he sees like people, like this woman who's like trying to hang something and just crying because she's stuck. And then Vision actually tries to break out, and it's clear that he's a product of like this alternate reality, because his body starts breaking down immediately when he tries to get out. And there's a lot of interesting things going on in the real world, and then in Wanda and Vision's like alternate reality. But it'll be interesting to see how, because the hex has grown, that's what they're calling it. So it's even bigger than it was. So I wonder who is going to be their like Luke Skywalker level cameo that they're teasing. But there's a lot of questions to be had after this week's episode. Who is this version of Quicksilver, Pietro? Why does he know so much about what's going on and he's not under Wanda's spell? Is he a villain in disguise, which a lot of people are now theorizing online? Is he from the X-Men universe or not? Is he from the multiverse or not? Is this just, I saw a new theory that this is just fun casting by Marvel and didn't realize of the fan repercussions, which no, they know what they're doing. And also, the tension between Wanda and Vision is hyping up, and how will this affect it is the next question. Other questions I have: what's going on in the real world now? Is Doctor Strange going to get involved? Are other Avengers going to get involved? Is Wanda under the control of someone, or is she doing this on herself just from grief? A lot of things are going on, but this Halloween episode was great. And the meta commentary is what made it even better. It like took it above and beyond. And Quicksilver's like remarks clearly showing that he knows this is like a TV show and things like that, and acting very strange and in on the joke is what makes it even better. Meanwhile, you have Vision, who's very confused by the whole situation and clearly not remembering anything, and it's moving at a different pace than it was at the beginning. So we only have a few episodes left, but it'll be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out and who the villain is and how it ties into the MCU moving forward. But a solid episode for sure. My personal favorite episode of the season, like 9 out of 10. Nothing yet has come that would tell me that there's a better episode before this one that's aired so far. But who knows? That could change this week as we move closer and closer to the big reveal, I guess, of what's really going on. But that is it for TV news. let's switch gears and head on over to what's going on in movie land. And the first bit of news we have, another bit of casting news for the Borderlands movie being directed by Eli Roth. Jack Black has joined the cast as Claptrap, the trusty robot character that I guess is a little snarky in the game too. And from what I can see online, I've never personally played the Borderlands games, people are stoked and love this casting of Jack Black as the character. Also, things started floating around saying that Face Off was going to be rebooted by Adam Wingard, the director of Godzilla vs. Kong. And people were like, why are we getting a reboot to Face Off? Like, that movie is, like, near perfect. Well, it turns out, and Adam Wingard himself clarified, it will actually be a sequel to the film, not a reboot or anything like that. I wonder, though, if they'll be able to get Travolta and Cage to be on board to come back. Because, of course, their eccentric personalities are what made that film great. And it was seeing Travolta play Nick Cage and Nick play Travolta. So it's like, that's a major dynamic. And if anything, if they do a sequel and they maybe just mention them, you have to get two people in today's chops that could fit that caliber and watch them play each other. And well, I'll have to think about this now. I will definitely start thinking of like eccentric duos that have never worked together that could play off of each other in a cool way and make it work and make it be funny too. That'll be interesting. I was just thinking maybe RDJ and Ben Affleck, big stars of the different comic, but no, I don't think it would work. But in other news, which I'm finding very strange, and I just recently found out that like Bam Margera has been hanging out in my town a lot lately. Like, I get it because Bob Burnquist's Mega Ramp or Super Ramp, whatever you want to call it, is in my town. And it's... But, like, you don't hear about big skaters coming to my town anymore. I mean, we're not like that anymore. But it's... I don't know. It's very interesting to hear. I haven't personally seen him, even though he's literally been at places around my house. And it's been in the news because his like Bentley was fucking stolen recently. But I don't know. And it's weird to hear that kind of stuff. So I haven't personally seen him, but he's in the news for other reasons. And apparently all his scenes from Jackass 4 have been cut. And he says, this is what he says about it. He said, I guess it's from Lad Bible. He posted all these on Instagram, and he says, quote, "Who the fuck cares if I'm drunk as hell anymore? Jackass has put me through hell on fucking wheels for a year and a half. I wrote them so many ideas, and if I'm not in the movie and you use my ideas, how do you think that will make me feel? The last thing I want to do is be in a courtroom with Jeff Tremaine. I love him, but fuck, man, I'm not in Jackass 4. If anybody cares about me, don't go see their movie, because I will make mine way fucking radder if you just Venmo me $1, unquote. And I guess he went on to say, if anybody cares about me at all, then throw me a fucking bone and send $1 to this Venmo, and the more you send, the radder shit we can do, and I give everyone fucking credit for it. Like, I can't compete with their 10 million, ladies and gentlemen, but if I had that, I would blow them out of the fucking water, unquote. Look, I really like Bam. I loved watching Viva La Bam. I love the Jackass films. But if I have to watch men in their 40s drunkenly perform these stunts, it's not as cool, right? I know they were drunk and high and shit back then. I'm not going to kid myself. But like watching them now, kind of like drunk and doing it wouldn't be the same, dude. Like, no. And I hate to say this. I really do. But if Bam was like that, I'd rather him not be in the movie. It's like, you don't want to watch people you enjoyed watching as a like younger, watching them like just like sad and old and drunk. And I don't know, man. That is just not something I want to see. I personally just do not want to see that. And I love Bam, and I love the Jackass crew. I love Johnny Knoxville. But, like, no. I'm sorry. And I'm sure Bam's hurting after losing Ryan Dunn, his best friend, and I can understand like them being collaborative and stuff, and that just like losing your juice and mojo, but just no. I'm sorry, no. I can't sign on and watch that. That's just not something I want to enjoy. But moving on to happier things, the Snyder Cut trailer was released on Sunday. And oh my God. This trailer looks better than the whole whatever shit that came out in 2017 that was directed by that serial disgusting human who was a serial harasser. I'm not even going to say his name anymore because just disgusting, horrible shit is coming out that he did to people. But the Snyder version, the Snyder cut of the trailer is better than whatever was released in theaters in 2017. I'm going to say that right now. And I can't fucking wait. We are a month out from the Snyder cut, and it looks amazing, and some of the new scenes look great. It looks like they might even be able to redeem the Jared Leto Joker, because we live in a society. Oh my God, this movie, I hope it just changes everyone's opinions. I really hope people understand that this is what it was meant to be. Go watch the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. It really makes it that we get to see Granny Goodness in the trailer. Granny fucking Goodness. And more Darkseid. And oh my God, I can't fucking wait. I can't fucking wait, dude. It's going to be so glorious. It'll be so glorious in all of its 4-hour glory with a 10-minute intermission. But we'll see how if the DCU sticks to it or if it's just going to be a one-off thing. Like, I don't care because it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Also announced, Mission Impossible 7 and 8 will no longer be shot back-to-back. It looks like it has to do with, Tom Cruise having to, I guess, focus on things that are coming out. He has Mission Impossible. He has Top Gun 2 Maverick coming out this year, so he has to do promotional stuff for that, so they won't be able to film Mission Impossible 8. And other part of it is they just want to make sure that all precautions are in place for testing and social distancing practices and things like that. So, unfortunately, they won't be filmed back-to-back, but Mission Impossible 8 is still set to release next November. November 2022. Next November is that this November? I'm not debating dates, but they're not going to be filming back-to-back like they originally planned. And it also came out recently that Rian Johnson's Star Wars is still set to come out. So his Star Wars trilogy is still set to come out. And he was speaking on a podcast, Sarah Wilson, who is Soraya Wilson, works for USA Today. And I guess she interviewed Rian Johnson, and his trilogy is still on. There's no dates or timelines, she said. There's a lot of other things moving in Hollywood with Lucasfilm, with Rian Johnson, but it's still happening, and honestly, that makes me very happy, because I loved The Last Jedi. I loved what he was doing. I know a lot of people said that he's a good director, and it just wasn't a good Skywalker movie, but a lot of those people said if he had a different Star Wars movie to work with, it would probably be really good. So I'm very excited to hear this, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. So we'll see how things all play out. But as long as Rian Johnson is still making a Star Wars movie, I'm very excited for where that will go. And then, so Disney released their trailer for their Cruella movie today, which stars Emma Stone as a young Cruella de Vil. And it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Movie trailers are supposed to make people want to watch a movie. This made me not want to watch the movie. First off, Cruella de Vil is not a villain that you would think is deserving of an origin film. And then they say it will be like, oh, it's going to take place in like 1960s London, pop culture, punk rock, and all that, and fashion and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe this movie will be good. Oh, by the way, we're casting Emma Stone in it. Oh, okay, definitely going to have some real shine in this movie. And then the trailer drops today, and I'm just like, what the fuck? This is not a movie. This is not a movie that looks good in any sense. Whoever made this trailer needs to be fired. And if they can come out with something that does a better job, then maybe I might be really interested in paying to see this movie. If not, if it goes right to Disney Plus, maybe I'll watch it. But as of right now, the trailer they put for this movie makes me not want to watch the movie. And that is not a good thing. Like, I can't tell. Is this a heist film? Is this like a coming-of-age film? Is this like a take on what DC did with Joker, where it's like someone starts off okay and then like devolves into like a bad guy? Like, what's going on, man? And this trailer did not help answer any of those questions. And that's a problem. That is a big, major red flag, in my opinion. Not good. Not good. But in other good Disney news, the Russo brothers, of course, are directing the live-action take on Disney's Hercules, one of my favorite Disney animated films. And Joe Russo was on Lights, Camera, Barstool. That's a Barstool sports podcast about Hollywood. And he had this to say, so quote, "The script's about to come in a week. We've taken a lot of time and care with it. It's a movie that was really important to me and my kids, something that they watched when they were young, and so we've got a strong emotional connection to it. Our intention is to look at everything we do and think about how we can build on it, or build it out. What can you do with this that expands it, gives you different opportunities for storytelling in it? So we're going through that same exercise with Hercules. Can we build it out? Can we build a world out of this and that extends beyond it and would be compelling? And I think that's what audiences are craving, right? They want to see something really cool that they want to get lost in for a decade. So that's our mission, is to provide them with that experience. It's still early. So we're getting a live-action Hercules franchise? Because that's what that sounds like. And I'm 100% on board with it. Like, are we going to get the 10 trials of Hercules, however you want to call them, instead of just like instead of just a montage of it in the cartoon, or sorry, the labors of Heracles. So granted, you can really draw those out. So if they do like one where he does a couple of the labors in one movie and then the next movie a couple of labors, that might be a little bit better, right? You know, slaying the Nemean lion and capturing the Ermanthian boar, which I'm pretty sure I did all of these things in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But I'm game if they do some kind of franchise with that, and as long as they get fire music like in the cartoon, right? Everybody wants that. So we'll see how that all plays out and what happens eventually with the Russo brothers when they finally get to making it. That's it for movie news today. There are a couple other things wanted to clear up before we end for today. And that is, it was announced that WonderCon will be virtual this year. So that will take place between March 26th and 27th. It will be WonderCon online or WonderCon at home or whatever they end up calling it again. And then two big comic announcements, actually. First of which, the Bounty Hunter Wars, which will be a large crossover event in Star Wars comics that will take place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and focus on Boba Fett. And it looks like it's just going to be a retelling of Shadows of the Empire, which really sucks because Shadows of the Empire is like one of the best Star Wars comic book storylines from the old expanded universe. And hopefully they do it justice with whatever this turns out to be, because that's definitely something that you don't want to mess with too much. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't want them to fuck it up. You know what I mean? But we'll see how what happened and why they didn't rescue Han right away, because if you guys don't know this, there's actually a year in between Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. So that might be why you guys are kind of wondering, like, wait, they didn't rescue Han right away? No, they didn't, actually. So, yeah, fun fact, huh? But I hope they don't mess up Shadows of the Empire and they do it in a new, great way. And it looks like the Black Sun is going to be involved, so maybe Prince Zeiser will be involved as well, but who knows? But what I think is the coolest thing, so DC Comics has announced they will be continuing their classic continuation stories, just like they did with Batman 66 and Wonder Woman 77. We are going to be getting a Superman 78 series that will continue the stories of the Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve Superman. And we will also be getting Batman 89, which will tell the story of Bruce Wayne and Batman, of course, following Batman Returns. The characters will be in their likeness, so they will look like Michael Keaton. We will get Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. There was already concept art shown off that shows like a Joker inspired by Prince, considering that the Joker was killed off in the first Batman 1989. But it's going to be digital only at first, and then trade paperback and hardback will release later this year. But be on the lookout for those, because those are going to be freaking awesome. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for coming to Nick's Nerd News this week. One more thing, actually, I did want to cover. Last week we started talking about people important in nerd culture in Black History Month, and there's a content creator I actually wanted to talk about this week. He's actually a host on the Xbox podcast from Kinda Funny. His name is Paris, and he goes by Vicious696 on Twitter. He plays a lot of Destiny and stuff on Twitch. Like I said, he hosts Xcast on Kinda Funny. He works for Gamertag Radio, and he plays Cyberpunk and a lot of things. He's really funny. He's been on Podcast Unlocked a lot. I personally really enjoy a lot of his interactions and how he approaches gameplays and things like that. And this is someone I think deserves a lot of praise in the community. And if you guys are into that kind of thing, I really recommend Paris. Like I said, I want to shine a light on people that maybe don't always get a light shined on them. And maybe if you're in the Xbox realm or maybe if you're in the PlayStation realm of things, you might not necessarily know who he is. So I just want to make sure everyone, gamers everywhere, kind of know about this person. And like I said, Paris is great. He has really interesting and great takes on things. He's actually really funny. And he's definitely someone that you guys should give a listen to or give a watch to if you haven't before. But his name is Paris, like I said, and he's someone to watch out for because he is a great content creator. But with that being said, that is it for Nick's Nerd News this week. Thank you guys for listening. As always, check out nicksnerdnews.com, where you can find links to all of our podcast pages. If you want to subscribe, listen, things like that, you can listen right in your browser, or you can find links to our Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast pages. Also, while you're there, make sure to check out our social media tab so you can find links to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages where we post a lot of funny memes. You can see everything right there in one place, or you can find links individually, or just search Nick's Nerd News on your preferred social media site. But with that, I will catch you guys on the flip side.